Frameshift drive charging.
Superpowers react to latest NMLA strike. Relations between the Empire and the Federation have deteriorated following a terror attack by neo-Marlinists against a federal starport. Kepler orbital in the Atropos system was bombed by the NMLA to eliminate several of its captured members before they could reveal anything under interrogation by the Federal Security Service.
Fuel scoop disengaged.
Imperial Ambassador Imogen Luciana made this
Frameshift drive charging.
The NMLA was obviously able to make use of its bomb-making factories within the LTT-1935 system. If the Federation had not resisted our investigation, we would have
4, 3, 2, 1,
shut these down and prevented the attack. Our warning about the extremist threat went unheeded, and the Federation is now paying the price. We once again insist that all Marlinists are repatriated to the Empire. Ambassador Jordan Rochester has not responded, but did confirm that federal embassies in several Imperial systems have closed after violent anti-Marlinist protests placed diplomatic staff's lives at risk. In Congress, Vice President Brad Mitchell directly blamed Shadow President Felicia Winters for the recent attack. He accused her of laying the welcome mat to terrorists by offering sanctuary to the Marlinists. Other congressmen argued that she had prioritized aid for Imperial rather than federal citizens. There is evidence that Winters is now losing some of her
4, 3, 2, 1.
recently gained political capital. However, the Liberal Party's popularity remains high in the wake of President Hudson's alleged association with the destruction of Starship One. Terrorist bombing at Federal Starport. Pilots Federation alert.
Fuel scooping.
Multiple explosions have struck Kepler orbital in the Atropos system, causing huge damage and loss of life. Witnesses have observed signs of corrosion damage to the starport. This is
Fuel scoop disengaged.
characteristic of an explosive design.
Frameshift drive charging.
The engineer Liz Ryder that deploys Thargoid caustic enzymes, and which was used in the bombings of Imperial starports in September. The NMLA has claimed responsibility for the attack. Its
4, 3, 2, 1.
propaganda channels praised the 9 martyrs, a reference to the terrorist suspects recently arrested by the Federal Security Service. There were also warnings of further reprisals if the Federation impedes our cause.
Incoming mission critical message.
The FSS has since confirmed that the captive NMLA
Fuel scooping.
members were being held in secure facilities at Kepler Orbital, which have been completely destroyed by the blasts. It is assumed that they were specifically targeted to prevent the prisoners revealing information about the paramilitary group under interrogation. Federal authorities are urgently requesting support from the galactic community to assist with repair efforts and to rescue survivors still trapped at the damaged station.
Fuel scooping complete.
Terrorists identified among Marlinist refugees. A screening process for Marlinist asylum seekers arriving in the Federation has located several members of the NMLA terrorist group. Vice President Brad Mitchell personally initiated a Federal Security Service operation to uncover any neo-Marlinist extremists concealed among the refugee population. The Vice President delivered this report to Congress. After standard ID scans flagged up some potential suspects, FSS officers employed more vigorous checks and interview techniques. They found 9 individuals who were active members of the NMLA. The terrorists have been transported to secure facilities for further interrogation, after which they will be handed over to Imperial authorities. Our security services remain vigilant against this danger that the Liberal Party has invited into our communities. Vox Galactica featured a statement by Marlinist community leader Dr. Jenna Fairfax. I am horrified to learn of NMLA hiding among us. These killers do not represent the principles of Marlinism, and we are happy to cooperate in expelling them. In related news, protesters on several federal worlds have warned of increased crime, terrorism, and economic damage unless all refugees are sent back to the Empire. Counter-protests have called for the Marlinists to be welcomed as fellow believers in democratic government. Coalsack Nebula campaign completes initial stages. Pilots Federation alert. An Alliance initiative has successfully prepared the Coalsack Nebula for exploitation and reduced the Thargoid's presence. Traders delivered shipments of power generators, robotics, structural regulators and building fabricators, which will be used to help construct several new facilities in the region. The quantity of commodities received will result in construction of the following for the 26th of November 3306, Betancourt-based
Incoming mission critical message.
Port in the Musca Dark Region PJPB61 system. Additional services: Interstellar Factor, Human Technology Broker, Encoded Material Trader, Extended Range of Multi-Purpose Ships. Call Point Starport in the Coalsack Sector VU0B66 system. Additional services: Interstellar Factor, Raw Material Trader, Extended Range of Multi-Purpose Ships and Mining Equipment, Fleet Carrier Administration. Hanu Arena Starport in the Musca Dark Region IMVC224 system. Additional services: Interstellar Factor, Range of Combat Ships and Weapons. Buring Port Starport in the Coalsack Sector KNSB49 system. Additional services: Interstellar Factor, Improved Outfitting Options, Manufactured Material Trader. Commodore Morag Halloran of the Alliance Defense Force delivered an update on the security procedures. Our efforts to clear the systems of Thargoid vessels were hugely boosted by independent pilots. Their skills have enabled our transports to travel to the nebula in relative safety. The Alliance is collaborating with several corporations to investigate the Coalsack Nebula for commercial and scientific sites of interest. Emperor decides Hadrian Duval's status. Princess Aisling Duval's request for her cousin, Imperator Hadrian Augustus Duval. Accepted into the Imperial family has been denied. Emperor Arisa Lavigny Duval's decision was delivered to the Senate by Chancellor Anders Blaine. Her Majesty acknowledges that Hadrian is a Duval by blood and offers royal pardons to him and his followers for previous crimes against the Empire. However, she does not bestow upon him the title of prince, nor offer any formal position within the Imperial family. Aisling Duval and Hadrian Duval both expressed disappointment, but agreed to accept the decree. The Senate has now ratified the Treaty of Parisa, which removes Nova Imperium's outlaw status in return for accepting Emperor Arissa's rule and contributing to operations against the NMLA. The Imperial Herald's political journalist Cassia Carvalho commented, "This surprisingly even-handed judgment is widely seen as bowing to pressure from the Senate.
Frameshift drive charging.
There is much loyalty to Aisling Duval. Some interpret it as atonement, or regaining political goodwill, for the purge of Nova Imperium in 3305, which included the execution of
4, 3, 2, 1.
several senators. The image this projects is of an empire coming together against the greater threat posed by neo-Marlinists. But there is speculation that an alliance between the two youngest Duvals may one day challenge the Emperor for the throne. Alliance launches Coalsack Nebula
Fuel scooping.
the campaign. Pilots Federation alert. Commodities and anti-Xeno support are requested as the Alliance begins
Fuel scoop disengaged. Frameshift drive charging.
exploitation of the Coalsack Nebula. The Alliance plans to construct several new outposts in the Coalsack Nebula. From these, commercial and scientific operations will be conducted to locate fresh
4, 3, 2, 1.
sources of meta-alloys and other potential sites of interest. The initiative was prompted by the findings of a planetary survey team 200 years ago, which were only discovered after an abandoned megaship arrived in the Chukchin system. Shipments of power generators, robotics, structural regulators, and
Fuel scooping.
even fabricators are required and can be delivered to the megaship Spirit of Lisa in the Muscadark region PJPP61 system. The more commodities that are supplied, the more outposts will be upgraded to starports,
Fuel scoop disengaged.
the
Frameshift
greater the
drive
range of
charging.
services they will offer. Commodore Morag Halloran of the Alliance Defense Force discussed security arrangements. We anticipate a heavy Thargoid presence within the Kolsak Nebula. Therefore, it is a strategic
Ready to engage. 4, 3, 2, 1.
necessity that we act now to curtail the threat to future exploration. Independent pilots and anti-Xeno squadrons can serve the Alliance by focusing their efforts on the Kolsak Sector KNSB49, Kolsak Sector VUOB66, Muscadark Region IMVC22,
Fuel scooping.
4 and Muscadark Region PJPP61 systems, which will host
Fuel scoop disengaged.
new structures. Federal system resists Imperial takeover.
Frameshift drive charging.
Pilots Federation alert. The Federation has successfully maintained control of the LTT-1935 system, following a battle against local Imperial forces. The
4, 3, 2, 1.
conflict was caused by an Imperial investigation that traced deliveries of bomb-making materials from this system to an NMLA workshop. Colonel Ernest Harris of the LTT-1935 Confederacy stated, "The LTT-1935 system remains part of the Federation, now that we have defended against the Empire's attempt to take control. Our citizens have been saved from the indignities of Imperial interrogation. In gratitude to the Federal auxiliaries and independent pilots who helped
Frameshift drive charging.
support our freedom, rewards are now available at Wolfport." There was also a message from Captain Axel Cyprian of the LYS Corp. "This is a serious setback in our war against the NMLA terrorists.
4, 3, 2, 1.
The Federation seem eager to protect. Nevertheless, for all those courageous pilots who flew on our behalf, we can offer generous payments from strength of purpose." Hadrian Deval seeks reintegration with the Empire. Imperator Hadrian Augustus Deval has recovered from an assassination attempt and signaled a new direction for Nova Imperium. Princess Aisling Deval provided advanced medical care
Frameshift drive charging.
for Imperator Deval after a near-fatal attack by NMLA assassins. Following a period of discussion, she told the media, "At this time of crisis we need allies more than ever, and my cousin's
4, 3, 2, 1.
heritage should not be denied. I have therefore formally requested sovereign consent for him to be accepted into the imperial family as Prince Hadrian." Hadrian Deval broadcast this message from Dyson City. "I owe my life to
Incoming mission critical message.
Schling, but life without purpose means
Fuel scooping.
nothing, and the Deval's purpose has always been to protect the Empire. I seek to adopt my birthright and help defend our traditional ways of life. However, many of us see disturbing parallels between the brutal purge of Nova Imperium's followers in 3305 and the current crusade against the Marlinists. I call upon those in power not to repeat this mistake. The NMLA is the common enemy we must unite against." Many senators publicly agreed that the Empire must heal past divisions to focus on the neo-Marlinist threat.
Fuel scoop complete.
Others have voiced concerns at the repercussions of Emperor Hengist's illegitimate grandson becoming an heir to the throne. As yet, Emperor Arisa Lavigny Deval has not responded. Ghost Ship leads Alliance to new resources. Discoveries made 200 years ago by an abandoned megaship have revealed untapped sources of meta-alloys within the Kolsak Nebula. The Adamastor, which was launched in 3111, returned to the Chukchin system from the Kolsak Nebula on autopilot with no traces of its crew. Thargoid barnacle sites were found in the nebula by independent pilots. The Alliance Assembly has announced an expedition to thoroughly explore the nebula, with the primary goal of securing fresh sources of meta-alloys. A press release stated, "Recent Thargoid activity in the Witchhead Nebula and overexploitation of that region mean that this latest discovery has come at an opportune time. The Coalsack Nebula will now be the focus of an initiative to identify sites of commercial and scientific interest. To achieve this, we have established new partnerships with several corporations including Sirius Atmospherics. Although the mystery of the Adamastor may never be fully resolved, we hope it will leave a positive legacy for the people of the Alliance." Mention of corporate partnerships caused ripples in certain industries, with speculation that these have been in the pipeline for months. Political commentators also observed that 3307 will be an election year for the Alliance, placing pressure on Prime Minister Edmund Mahone to secure economic stability. Terrorism spreads as superpower conflicts increase. Neo-Marlinist extremists are continuing their campaign of terror, while the Empire and Federation clash over issues caused by Marlinist refugees. The Imperial Herald has featured updates on terrorist activity across the Empire. The NMLA has claimed responsibility for over 50 bomb attacks during the last 3 weeks. These mostly targeted local authority buildings and security forces, killing hundreds. Hit squads have also assassinated several high-profile individuals connected to the Devals, including the Emperor's relative Baron Cesare Lavigny.
Mission objective complete.
Senior IISS leaders have admitted for how organized and well-equipped the paramilitary group is. Critics suggest that the mass arrest of Marlinists may have radicalized already sympathetic to the Republican ideology. The Federal Times has focused between superpowers, with diplomatic channels closing down. The possibility that the confrontation in LTT 1935 might escalate into all-out war cannot be ignored. There is added pressure from the exodus of millions of Marlinists, whose beliefs align with the Federation's democratic principles. President Hudson is still suffering from reduced congressional support, and many have said that it feels like Felicia Winters is running the show. But although her humanitarian efforts undoubtedly saved many refugees' lives, the acceptance of imperial outcasts into federal society Federal and Imperial forces engage in battle. Pilots Federation alert. The Empire's counter-terrorism operation in the LTT 1935 system has triggered armed resistance from the Federation. The Imperial Internal Security Service's investigation into the NMLA terrorist group led its agents to LTT 1935, a Federation-controlled system in neutral space. Military vessels were called in for support, only to be met in combat by Federal forces. A declaration was made by Colonel Ernest Harris of the LTT
Frameshift drive charging.
1935 Confederacy. The Empire cannot dominate and arrest our citizens as it did with the Marlinists. We claim the right to defend the Federation's territory from such aggressive tactics.
4, 3, 2, 1.
Captain Axel Cyprian of the LYS Corp responded. The IISS has confirmed that the Neo-Marlinists have secret bomb-making factories concealed within LTT 1935. To prevent future atrocities, it is vital that we take control of this system and shut down the NMLA's source of weapons. The
Fuel scooping.
LTT 1935 Confederacy has requested help from independent pilots to defend LTT 1935 from occupation.
Fuel scoop disengaged.
The Empire. The LYS Corp
Frameshift drive charging.
has also asked for auxiliaries to assist in gaining control of the system. Federation accused of supporting the NMLA. The Empire has revealed new evidence that
4, 3, 2, 1.
suggests the NMLA terrorist group may be receiving help from elements within the Federation. A report from the Imperial Internal Security Service stated, with information provided by the engineer Ms. Ryder, we located an abandoned workshop where explosives have been constructed using her blueprints. Traces were found of Thargoid caustic enzymes, matching the payloads delivered during the starport bombings. Micro-signage uncovered.
Frameshift drive charging.
Cargo containers identified bulk deliveries of equipment from a federal system in neutral space, where we believe the NMLA has a second bomb-making facility. IISS agents are currently investigating to confirm.
3, 2, 1.
Confirm these findings. Federal Ambassador Jordan Rochester refuted these allegations. The suggestion that we're responsible for the Empire's homegrown extremists is laughable. As with their persecution of Marlins, this is another excuse for an inability to solve their own problems. Imperial Ambassador
Fuel scooping. System
Imogen
scan
Luciana
complete.
responded. There have long been rumors that the NMLA has the Federation's support to destabilize the
Fuel scoop disengaged.
Empire and promote Republican propaganda. If true, there will be severe consequences.
Frameshift drive charging.
In related news, some federal systems are struggling to cope with an influx of Marlinist refugees. Public disobedience, food shortages and epidemics have been reported in the theaters. LTT
4, 3, 2, 1.
935 and HIT 36081 systems, due to a lack of additional resources. Hadrian Duval saved by Aisling Duval's intervention. Princess Aisling Duval has provided life-saving aid to Imperator Hadrian Augustus Duval, who was severely wounded by
Fuel scooping.
NMLA terrorists. The INV Akanas Courage transported her to the Parisa system where she offered protection against further assassination attempts. Hadrian Duval was transferred to the Majestic-class Interdictor's medical
Fuel scoop disengaged. Frameshift drive
surrounded by
charging.
both his Praetorian Guard and Imperial troops. He received advanced treatment including Vitadine nanomeds, and is no longer in critical condition. This unorthodox intervention has drawn both criticism and praise
4, 3, 2, 1.
from senators and public alike. Nova Imperium is outlawed for sedition due to its isolationist policies, and its leader is not recognized by the Imperial family. However, a non-aggression pact was agreed between Aisling and Hadrian in 3305. A defiant Aisling Duval told the Imperial Herald, "I recently lost one member
Hull integrity compromised.
of my family to these extremists. I am not about to lose another. Regardless of politics, Hadrian is my cousin, and there are precious few Duvals left alive." Nova Imperium's head of security, Praetor Leo Magnus, commented, "I am confident that our Imperator would have survived, but we do appreciate Her Highness's assistance. It remains a mystery how the NMLA could come so close to succeeding, but my investigations continue." Empire and Federation clash over Marlinists. The Empire has repeated its demand for the Federation to deport all Marlinist emigrants, as tensions increase between the two superpowers. Hundreds of thousands of political refugees reached after fleeing to escape the Empire's hunt for neo-Marlinist terrorists. Congress has agreed to provide sanctuary, along with offers of permanent residency. Imperial Ambassador Imogen Luciana stated, "Our people must be safely returned so we
Frameshift drive charging.
can identify dangerous NMLA activists before they gain the opportunity to inflict further harm. We have no desire for the Federation to suffer the same horrific attacks." A response was given by federal
4, 3, 2, 1.
Ambassador Jordan Rochester. "As always, the Empire promises one thing and does another. This is not an altruistic effort to spare us from terrorists. It is a totalitarian purge of believers in democracy. There are reports that both superpowers have suspended many official channels of communication.
Fuel scooping.
Political commentators have observed that the Federation's actions could be construed as the mass kidnapping of Imperial citizens,
Fuel tank disengaged.
which would be an act of war. Supplies for Marlinist refugees successfully delivered. A federal charity initiative to deliver vital supplies for Marlinist refugees from the Empire has concluded. Safeguard Interstellar, a humanitarian aid organization, received an impressive response to its request to provide basic necessities to Marlinist immigrants claiming asylum in the Federation. CEO Noel Beaumont announced, these much-needed shipments of basic medicines, clothing, food cartridges, fruit and vegetables, and evacuation shelters will be used to sustain the Marlinist populations in the LTT 3607, Charanda and Aned systems, at least until they can receive the state support granted by Congress. Our affiliate, the Fion Liberals, will be pleased to reward contributing pilots at Fox Enterprise in the LFT 625 system. The charity shared a message from Dr. Jenna Fairfax, a Marlinist community leader. To all the pilots who brought these life-saving supplies, thank you. Leaving our homes has been incredibly difficult, but you and Safeguard Interstellar have provided ports in the storm. Many of us hope to start afresh in the Federation, where we know our democratic ideals will be nourished. Ghost ship arrives in Chukchan system. Pilots Federation alert. An abandoned megaship that set out 2 centuries ago has returned on automatic pilot to the Chukchan system. Local security forces were scrambled to intercept an unidentified vessel that was detected on a collision course with Chukchan 5B. The megaship displayed no signs of life, so tugs were deployed to wrench it into a safe orbit. This caused onboard power systems to overload with explosive results, damaging cargo holds and spilling debris. The name of the ship was confirmed as the Adamastor, but no further information is available in the public domain. Specialists from the Alliance Salvage Guild boarded the derelict to conduct an investigation. Their preliminary report stated, the Adamastor has been traveling at sublight speed through interstellar space for nearly 200 years. There are no remains of the crew. All escape pods and secondary craft have been launched.
South Kruger Hotel Echo X-Ray. Landing permission will be granted upon request. Welcome to this Federal Starport, Commander.
Several airlocks were manually opened from within.
Request approved. Assigned to landing pad 1-4. Clear for automated
A complete
approach
absence of
vectoring.
identification suggests that this ship was intended for clandestine operations. All data drives have been deliberately erased. There is evidence of a reinforced cargo hold, fitted with what looks like the remains of environmental equipment. Recent fire damage makes it impossible.
Landing gear deployed.
Landing complete. Engines disengaged.
Please make sure you have authorization before you enter the dockment bay. Operate under economic reservation policy. Ensure you have authorization before attempting to disembark. Avoid unnecessary destruction. Do not block the access ports.
coupler disengaged. Clear for egress.
Landing gear retracted. Landing gear retracted. Frameshift drive charging. Ready to engage. 4, 3, 2, 1, engage. Fuel scooping. Fuel scoop disengaged. Frameshift drive charging. Four, three, two, one, engage. Frameshift drive charging. Frameshift drive charging. Disengaged. Fuel scooping complete.
Automated docking assist is now in progress.
landing gear deployed.
Contact. Systems offline. Follow the greens on your way out.
Landing gear retracted. Frameshift drive charging. disengaged. Frameshift drive charging. Frameshift drive charging. Disengaged.
Landing permission granted. Cleared to land on pad 4-4. Clear for automated approach vectoring.
Scan detected. Landing gear deployed.